What I love about Wodapalooza is like the festival feel. It's like this amazing community comes together, multiple stages, athletes going on, but it's really about everything else that's happening here. This place is pretty sick. If you haven't been here, you gotta come check out Wodapalooza.
Hey, what's up, my friends? As you can see, day 2 action has wrapped up here in Miami. That means it's time to spin it up for the internet. That's you guys. It was an amazing day, and I gotta be honest with you, most of the things that are exciting me aren't even happening on the competition floor. Of course, I'll bring you all the action for the men, women, and teams, but I also got to catch up with a lot of good friends, got to meet a lot of cool brands, got to do a lot of cool activities. Check it out. My boy Jason.
This is a fancy camera.
Yeah, it's actually like less fancy than everybody else.
Oh man.
Hey, when you're here amongst the people,
Yeah.
you see the workouts going down.
Yeah.
Do you miss it?
I mean, of course, there's always a part of me that wants to be in the mix.
Yeah.
But you know, as you grow and you evolve, your priorities shift, and that's where I'm at, man. You know,
Yeah.
it's family, it's business, and it's maintaining my fitness, and that's where my focus is at. And it's not so much competing anymore. As much as I still love it and it's great, it just doesn't align with where we need to be right now.
I'm here with Sean. He's our Buttery Bros competition winner. He's doing a little data collection for us. We are constantly 24/7 running studies to validate our Whoop wearable and the tools that we're using. We're usually up in Boston running these, and it's pretty cold and frigid up there, so we're down here making the most of the warm, sunny.
Cheers. Yo, I got Tommy back. We're back in the house. We are going to get to the update show really quick. Going to basically treat this as a mullet show.
Ooh, all right.
Business in the front,
Party in the
back.
Mm-hmm.
The only bit that we get out here in the beginning is to say that I have to thank our sponsors, my sponsors, and you can thank anybody you want as well. FitAid's been fantastic and longtime supporters of me. They're helping me out this weekend. And then Whoop has been a really cool new partner who I know that you get along with really well.
Yeah, they're an official, one of our biggest sponsors for our podcast, and they've been a huge supporter of us from basically since before the game.
Awesome. Let's talk about them real quick, because what they've done is they have now extrapolated from the athletes who are wearing straps.
Ooh.
They've extrapolated basically strain and recovery data.
Wow.
And I'm going to read it because I can't remember it, and you're going to make sense of it.
Okay.
So here's what we're talking about. The earlier workouts didn't drive things up too much.
Okay.
Nothing compared to the rough event, essentially. But the final event today boosted strain scores to an average of 16.2. And recoveries, this is for women, floated around 54%.
Okay.
Elite men, similar. Yesterday they had an average strain of 19.3, and today was under 17 at 16.8. So recoveries there also sitting at 59%. So,
Interesting.
yeah, it is. And if nothing else, that's the point, is that this is interesting. And that's why I love, that's one thing that I love about Whoop. As a fan of the sport, we've got a little bit more to chew on. As athletes, they'll have something to go on, but what do you make of the recovery and strain scores?
Well, for one, clearly the contrast in the recovery. Well, the recovery score, is what you expect the lifestyle factors of these athletes to be top-notch in competition. Sometimes the recovery score simply just can't be driven as high with the amount of sleep that you would normally need because of the excess day strain. That definitely makes sense coming from a day with loose, longer, sustained high heart rate. Closer to your maximal heart rate is going to drive that day strain up,
And competition
as well. So coupled with the heat too, you look at all those factors that if your body's overheating, you're actively working harder to try and cool the body down, your blood pressure, everything starts to change, and you see that elevated heart rate for longer, which drives the strain score up, and as a result has an effect on recovery. Now, today we had slightly different stimuluses, right? You had a longer kind of moderate to sub-maximal effort on the pace boat until the end, so that kind of slow, steady heart rate until you got a little bit higher, and then before you knew it was over, so you could recover and get that heart rate down. And then the last workout for the bench press, kind of low heart rate, high muscle fatigue though. Yeah. So there comes a point where you just start to fail out either on the legless rope climbs or the bench press. Heart rate drops has nothing to do with cardiovascular load or anything like that. So naturally the day strain is going to be a little bit lower.
And then of course there's compounding effect as well. All of this and more, we get into the weeds quite a bit later. So that's an interview that I had. There's another interview with Logan Aldridge, who you also sat down with today. If you don't know who Logan is, Aldridge Logan on Instagram, you got to check him out. He's an absolute inspiration and a big part of the adaptive community. We wrapped really quickly here, but it was really insightful for me to see, one, how important Wodapalooza has been for the adaptive community, and two, where the adaptive competition scene is going. And then lastly, the man behind this company, co-founder and pres of FitAid, or LifeAid beverage company, Aaron Hines sat down with me, and always great catching up with him. He's been a long-time supporter. That's the business. You guys can skip ahead if you want to. Go check it out. It's the internet after all. But, you got control of it. And otherwise, we're going to get right into it. If we're going to typify the competition today, I'm going to steal this from the man you're about to hear from, but essentially we've got a sibling rivalry, an international battle, and then pure dominance. Let's listen to Brian Friend, who statistician who works with you guys on the show as well.
Friend of the show, Brian Friend of the show.
And let's hear from Brian right now, and we'll come back and do our own little video. You know what I want to know? Did you love or hate the row workout?
I loved it.
Me too.
The thing I loved the most about it was that all the divisions were able to tackle it from the same paces. Intermediate, RX, and men. And I don't know if you know this or not, Rory, but there was an RX woman and an RX man, not in the elite division, that beat all the elite athletes on both the men and women's side.
I had no idea.
And that was kind of the inspiration for the event. Anyone can do this workout, same paces, and sometimes in a specialty event like that, it doesn't come from the top heats that win.
Yeah, okay, so let's talk though about overall leaderboards then. Women, what jumps out and grabs you?
It's everything everyone wanted to see. All the hype before the weekend was Tia and Sarah and Tia. Can Sarah challenge Tia? We haven't seen her push like this. She didn't do great on the row, bounced back tonight on the pump sesh, and I think they're 4 or 5 points apart with halfway through the competition.
Yeah, I love it, dude. Nail biter. Men, same question.
Men, Travis Williams, Cole Sager, Pat Vellner on the podium. Saxon and Spencer 4th and 5th, only 4 points apart from each other. Neither of them have the games invite. Can you imagine the sibling rivalry going back and forth?
What an awkward conversation, you know what I mean? But they have to be used to it.
Yeah, you want your brother to do great, but if it means a spot to the games, you want that for yourself.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about teams.
Teams, I am loving the teams. Mayhem Freedom comes to events like this to be tested and to test themselves, and GoWad's giving them all they can handle. They were amazing. GoWad was incredible on the road this morning. So was Wit, and all 3 of those teams are very close with 2 days to go.
Honest opinion, does the qualifying spot not going to the winner of the competition take the drama out of the competition for you? Why or why not?
Not at all. There's drama at the top of all 3 leaderboards for the podium, and there's drama a little bit further back in all 3 divisions for the game spot. If anything, it amplifies it.
Thanks to Brian, smart cookie. Enjoy hearing from him, and we're going to take a deeper dive though, because of course I've brought your encyclopedic brain to break down the competition as well.
Sure.
When you look at the men's competition, what stands out from the day, and when you look at the leaderboard, what are your thoughts?
Well, what really stood out for me, at least from a moment's perspective, is Spencer Panchik in the final event. He's going toe-to-toe with Cole Sager, Pat Vellner, Noah Olson, some of the top names in the sport. Now, granted, he's the one Panchik brother who hasn't qualified for the games, hasn't been on that big stage. And you know what? Going into the final set of thrusters, he was leading most of the way, fell a little bit behind. It looked like Cole Sager caught him and was going to continue on towards the win. Spencer Panchik not only collected himself, but he basically went full send and rolling the dice on those final 9 thrusters, kind of cycling a little bit faster and taking that chance. And he was rewarded with a great finish, a 3rd place overall, a top 3 finish, and it put him back into the conversation for the invite against his brother. I mean, 4 points separate him. How do you think Mrs. Pancheck, the mom, feels like it's a real Sophie's Choice kind of situation, right?
She can't lose, you know.
And it's hard to say she can't really win. She's
can't
got
win,
to
yeah.
congratulate one and then tell the other one, well, you didn't beat your brother. So
That's right.
yeah. But I mean, that's fantastic. And then obviously, you know, T-Bone Williams at the top once again for the second day in a row.
I got something for you. So we got a little soundbite with him. I caught up with him right before the final workout, and as always, he managed to surprise me with his candor.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck what place I get. I want to make money. You know, like games is no thing. Even on team though, where I've gotten to the point where I'm like, you know what? It doesn't matter if I'm going to CrossFit games. I'm not there to spend money. I'm like, I want to go to these competitions to make money. Otherwise, I'm not going. Like, no reason. Like, getting 6th place at the game on a team twice now. It cost me $5,000 each time. Like, that's not worth it.
I'm never inviting you to the bar now that I know you're not going to buy the drinks.
I'll buy them if I win.
I mean, classic Travis Williams, right? Doesn't hold anything back, doesn't sugarcoat. In the world of knives, Travis Williams is the machete, right?
I didn't know what to say. I was far out, dude.
Blunt and hacking away, man. And that's I love that personality about him. I love that he doesn't hide it. He doesn't try to be something that he's not, and he goes for it. And right now, he's in the overall lead against 13 other individual games athletes. So I have more on that in a sec when it comes to the team competition, but it definitely got my mind going.
Okay, great. Well, then let's move on to the women. We'll talk about the entire day as a whole and what jumps out and grabs you, because Brian Friend is kind of latching onto that Sarah Sigmundsdottir Tia Toomey rivalry.
Yeah, you know, he said this is what everybody wanted to see, but I think secretly in the back of their minds, we were starting to get reserved for the fact that maybe Sarah just wasn't gonna do it. And I think now, about halfway through the competition, this is at the point now where regardless of what happens, I think she can walk away with this as a success. 4 very, very different tests, 4 very unique tests on 2 different kind of, you look at the things like climate, right?
Yeah.
You look at the time durations, the stimulus. She's hit a couple of those different corners of the programming world, and she's 4 points ahead of Tia Toomey right now. If this were the games, I mean, think about it. We'd have all these people getting cut, and she'd be at the top. I mean, imagine the momentum. We saw what it did for Noah Olson at the games. This is something that could really invigorate someone like Sarah Sigmundsdottir. And then, you know, the other thing that stands out as far as the competition for me, Amanda Barnhart.
Yeah.
Someone I felt like we didn't really get to see the full potential of the game because she hurt her foot, her ankle, during the ruck run.
Oh, man. You saw the great footage of
in
that.
the finish dock, right?
Bro.
Oh man, it was hard to watch. That's one of those
hard to
little weird things that, like, it's really always tough to watch those types of injuries, and you always wonder what if, right? Because she was still hanging around the top 10, had a fantastic year, but the race for the top woman in the USA is always a prestigious one in the CrossFit realm because of where the sport grew up and who was at the forefront early on. And Carrie Pierce has kind of held that down for a little while, but Amanda Barnhart has been someone that's like, everyone is like, you got to keep your eye on. And she had the best day of any woman so far today. A 3rd and a 4th, walks away with a monumental point spread in terms of making up ground, and right now is in the podium hunt a little bit now. And I think she is showcasing some skills that everyone's like, if she does that, then she's a podium threat. Well, now I think she's starting to enter that conversation.
One final look there at your overall women's standings, and we'll move on now to the team competition, where Mayhem Freedom is at the top of the leaderboard, but they are actually having to work for it.
And they're getting a really good push from a team, GoWad, which 2 of the women, Andrea Nisler and Taylor Williamson, are going to be on a team at the games, so they can't actually compete at the games with this format. But one of their teammates is Travis Williams, who's winning the men's competition. And you start to think now, because they won Dubai, maybe this is a mixture, once they come back together, could maybe push Mayhem for the overall spot at the games just a little bit. Obviously, some things have to come together. But then you take a look down the leaderboard. In second, they can't take the invite. You go down to third, team with 2 women on their team, Sam Briggs, Harriet Roberts, already have individual invites. They can't take the invite as well. So despite falling to 4th on the day, Mayhem Independence still technically sits in the invite spot, and they're only 3 points ahead of Victory Grips, which has, you know, Ethan Helbig, Elijah Muhammad, Meredith Root, Alex Parker. So it's now there's a weird kind of crazy mixture of individual games athletes matched together trying to maybe fight for a games invite on the team competition. So Mayhem Independence is not out of the running right now, and they still technically have the invite. And now we also get a look at maybe a team that could push Mayhem Freedom for the overall spot maybe in a few months.
Man, where do you keep all the information in your head, bro?
Ugh.
Where do you keep it in your head? You guys got to look at the overall leaderboard there, and we'll end with a soundbite from Fisa Gaffi because she also has games invite. This will be the only time we probably get to see her on a team, and quite frankly, I think she's fantastic.
Hello, Ro.
Hey, my first question, is it official? Like, did you get your invitation?
Oh, yeah.
to the games? Yes.
Yes. High five, individual. Finally got it at Mayhem Classic.
Good for you.
Like, it was all unofficial, so I was like excited, but I was like bummed that I didn't like get podium, and everything was unofficial, so I didn't get to have my moment. I got my email, and then like the happy tears started to come, so eventually got it.
That's a moment enough.
Yeah, yes.
But now here you are with Freedom.
Yeah, Mayhem Freedom. Amazing. I was originally going to do Wodapalooza individual, registered, got my name on the roster, and then like literally like the day of elite registration individual, I got a text from Scott, who got a text from Rich, like, hey, does we want to do a team? And Scott reached out, he was like, do you want to do a team? I was like, sure, I got my invite already.
When Rich calls, you answer.
Right, he knows me, he saw me, it was good.
You having fun?
I'm having so much fun. This is my first time doing team since 2017. 2017 was my first time, but today is at Wodapalooza. This is my first time working out with the team too. The dynamic is awesome though, so we work together really well.
So good to see you.
I'll see you later.
I got blood on.
All right, hey, that wraps up the business portion. It's time to party. And so I'll give a sponsor pop. LifeAid has been fantastic, and I am drinking their new CBD product, which I think tastes kind of like lemonade.
Yeah, I was actually surprised because I was expecting, it says LifeAid CBD, I expected it to taste like LifeAid, so it's got a new little kind of crispy flavor to it. So.
It's a totally different flavor, right?
Yeah.
So again, shout out to the LifeAid team, fantastic, and love you guys. And they've let me make this place my home all day today and this weekend. I'm going to move on though to our other sponsor, Whoop, who I really am fascinated by what they're doing. I've been into wearable tech and stuff like that for a long time, and I like to really shake people like this down. I like to try and be as skeptical as I possibly can. Something's got a new best technology or whatever it is. So far for me, it really passes the sniff test, and what people are about to see is an interview with Mike Lombardi. He is the elite performance coach, is that right?
Elite performance director, yeah.
Director for Whoop, and you spoke to him on the podcast. What are some high points for you?
It was one of those things that's really trying to understand. We got to go to Whoop headquarters and interview them there in the office, trying to understand how the company came to be, some of the huge drivers for them from a data perspective, and not just the fact that they're looking just to be the next big thing. They're really kind of very cautiously moving forward with each data set, letting the science and proven things over time really force them to take the next step, which in my opinion is what keeps them from being gimmicky. In the long run, and I really enjoyed that and kind of digging into
in this space.
Oh yes, and Mike, fantastic at taking that data and actually having actionable, applied things to help people in their daily lives, which is really the application of Whoop here in this space.
That's a great. He covers all this and a little bit more even. And so I'm going to let him say it in his words. Here's my interview with Mike Lombardi.
I'm Mike Lombardi. I work in the performance side of Whoop, and I also work with strategic partnerships. My background is Olympic level coaching, so I've lived in the data for a very long time.
Now, we got to podcast earlier. That was long form.
Yeah.
But I want the people to know what you think differentiates Whoop from some other wearable tech.
Absolutely. So with Whoop, first off, it's the only thing that you never have to take off 24 hours a day. We're also pulling data at a rate that is significantly higher and at a higher quality than anyone else is pulling. So the key metrics here are when we're comparing heart rate, we're within 1 beat of an ECG. So even at motion, you're gonna get very, very accurate heart rate. Our sleep staging has actually just been validated, third party by the University of Arizona, as highly, highly accurate in both telling when you are asleep and our sleep staging. So when we say you're in REM sleep or slow wave sleep, it's highly accurate, and there's absolutely nothing like that. The recovery score that you get out of that is proprietary, and it's truly telling you how ready your body is to take on that day. And we're not just looking at necessarily one day at a time, we're also looking at trends. So we're comparing you to yourself, not just an objective data set of, 100 for heart rate variability in milliseconds. That might be great for you, it might be really bad for me. So what Whoop is, it's personalized to you. And we're also measuring internal load. So pretty much everybody can look at how fast am I going, how far did I go, people love steps, calories, all of that. What we're telling you is how hard is your heart working throughout the course of the day in terms of, let's say, Wodapalooza, where we're on our feet all day, you probably don't eat, you have like 6 coffees and no water, your heart rate is just gonna be kind of up because you're always talking, you're gonna have a high day strain. So my day strain for something like today is gonna end up probably being higher than maybe even when I train twice a day on a weekend. So really getting in touch with how everything in your life, every stimulus, food when you have it, hydration, sleep, social interactions, that affects you. And you're gonna see that in your recovery and in your strain.
So somewhere in there is HRV.
Yes.
What if we were just gonna take it like elevator pitch? What's
Heart rate variability.
For like my mom or a client of mine?
Good. Okay, elevator pitch. So heart rate variability is an indicator of your autonomic nervous system, which is built of 2 branches, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. So sympathetic is fight or flight, it gets your heart rate up. Parasympathetic is rest and digest, it slows your heart rate down. So both systems are competing to send signals to your heart. The higher that your HRV, which we measure in milliseconds, is compared to your 30-day baseline, the more receptive your heart is going to be to receive signals from both branches. Effectively, how ready you are to speed up, slow down at a given moment's notice, or adapt to any strain or stimulus that comes your way during the day.
As an Olympic level coach,
Yeah.
having seen my sleep from last night,
0 sleep. Well, there's nothing to look at. Absolutely nothing to look at. So, that's one of those things where I can't wait to have this conversation with you tomorrow. I'm amazed you're awake. So hopefully you actually get some sleep tonight. But this is one, as the example here of Rory actually staying up all night, that something like that might actually affect for 5 to 6 days. It's the equivalent of if you went out on a bender, your heart rate variability can be suppressed for up to a week, depending on how much damage you really do to yourself.
and actually let's take just the opposite slant for a second because I'm a bad example.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier on the podcast, like how cool it's going to be when we can get more data with athletes and how they can actually incorporate that into a season, dry runs for events, things like that.
Right. So a lot of people, what people think about is red means stop, and some people end up getting, I don't want to say crippled by the data, but some people can definitely look at something like, I can't do this. Whoop is just another piece of your puzzle, and it's a very good indicator of maybe where you are on any given day, but you also need to look at the trends. So one red day isn't the worst thing in the world. If you're just kind of living with red recoveries, something's probably wrong. So that's the point where you're looking at 2-3 days in a row where maybe you need to pull back, you need a little more sleep. Have you not been hydrating enough? Have you just kind of been pushing too hard on the training? There's something in there that's not working. You could be getting sick. So look at the combination of trends plus that actual day instead of just living and dying by each day.
And remember when I said we weren't going to make this into another podcast, but now I'm making
It's turning into one. It's okay though.
Yeah, it is. I'm enjoying it. I wanted to celebrate because my whole spin on the Whoop bands with athletes was from a broadcast standpoint and from a fan standpoint, how many athletes are wearing Whoop like in this competition and then like in general, you think?
So based off of the amount of swag bags we made, roughly a third of all competitors across all divisions here are wearing Whoop. There will be more by the end of this. I can say personally from my box in Boston, there's about 40% of the members that are wearing Whoop. So it's growing, and the thing is, it's not for just the elite. Maybe that's where Whoop started with LeBron and Michael Phelps, but it's very clear that everybody has their best they're trying to be. And whether that's you do CrossFit because then you like to go mountain biking, or you like to go play golf, whatever it is, there's ways that it can make you better, and things you can learn about yourself that nothing else can tell you, except for Whoop.
Should we end on just an aggressive what do you do to people if they call it a whoop?
I politely correct them, and then I start to get a little upset. You get one, and then I start getting upset.
One warning.
Yeah.
Like about that is that he points out that it's not just for elite athletes, and I do think that there's tons of value to be found for regular folk or just people looking to make themselves a little bit better in the kind of data that you can extrapolate from this product.
And one of the things that's really been a driver for us, at least from the podcast perspective, for Whoop as a partner, is that we've seen that applied in our own lives and in the lives of our listeners and things like that through our Whoop group and all of the things that they provide. Is we're constantly checking in with people, and we're seeing these changes play out through some of the recommendations from Mike and the team and the tips and things that they apply through their app, and it's made a difference. Yeah. I mean, we're kind of in this boat, in the same vein where like you give us something to chew on in terms of data and an actionable plan, and it makes it a lot easier to chase. And for us, once I know what my sleep score is, once I know what my recovery is, and now I have some goals and some things to actually base off of, complete game changer. And it's been really fun to see the improvement for us and the people that follow along, that listen and are in the community, that come up to us and are like, hey man, we had a testimony of how Whoop literally saved someone's life.
No way. We
had someone that, because of his lack of recovery, despite all the other external factors, clued them into a heart cardiac situation that they rushed him to the hospital. They're like, the Whoop is telling us you are in the red like 4 days in a row, despite eating well, sleeping well, not training. Something's wrong. And went to, and sure, like his heart filled up with fluid. So it was like, but you wouldn't get that. Yeah.
If that don't compel you, I don't know what will.
You wouldn't get that without the data, though,
yeah,
right?
Right.
You need that at least. You need to take that first step in at least collecting the information to have an understanding of what you have.
Yes, and then on the completely just sponsor poppy side of that, I got a new dope color.
Ooh.
They're styly.
Yeah, and I don't even have that.
And I got a code now. So use Team Row, and you can get 15% off any of the subscriptions. What you guys don't know, because you're at home and it is almost midnight, and some dude is right over there. Like, what is he doing? Is he leaf blowing?
He just hit a leaf blower like right up under in the gap underneath this tent and just blasted me in the face with a leaf blower. So
I've gone to great lengths to un-F my sound, for lack of a better description, and of course leaf blower guy shows up at midnight, so you can't win for losing. Oh man, let's move on. The next person that I was so stoked to catch up. Today was all about catching up with people for me. I got to do 2 podcasts with you.
Yeah.
Did we do 2 today?
We did one
one long one today, which was fun, man.
Oh man.
So talking elite fitness. When will that come out?
That'll come out tonight, tomorrow. Yep.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So
okay,
I'm gonna turn it around.
Oh, dude. Okay, so go check out, download the latest episode with the Buttery Bros. We got deep.
Yeah.
Man, Mars, that really helped me, actually, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
He poured his heart out, and it was helpful for me. Therapeutic, all of us. And but here, sitting exactly where Tommy is now, was Logan Aldridge, and on his Instagram, he literally says, "Let me know if you need a hand." He's a one-armed man, and he's got a sense of humor about it, and he has had an enormous impact in from the coaching side of things, from the competing side of things. He's not competing this year, and he felt pretty strongly about letting people know why, but I'm going to let him do it in his own words. So here's me and Logan Aldridge sitting here in the FitAid tent. So just for the camera, I'm gonna clap, and
got to do that. I've learned about that recently.
Yeah, right. Like, but the biggest difficulty thing we talked about it is audio. It's like, man,
matching up that stuff.
But then when you get good equipment like this, you're like, man, I might look goofy, but people can hear me.
Game changer. Game changer.
Logan Aldridge, man, great catching up with you.
Hey,
here we are.
Pleasure to be on with you.
The only reason I'm disappointed to see you is because you're not on the competition floor.
I know. Gosh.
So why? And break it down for people why you're not competing this year. What went into that decision?
Yes, I would love to. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share, because there's a lot of questions being asked. Why isn't Logan competing?
Yeah.
And I'm having a ton of FOMO. I wish I was out there. But I believe I'm making a smart decision. I've been battling a little wrist injury.
Yep.
And although it be minor, I can still train and do all the things that I would do, maybe not to the 100% level, maybe not the heaviest loads or the PR loads, but I'm still training a lot. but I didn't want to come out here and put myself in a competitive environment where I know I tend to make maybe not the smartest decision.
I love the words you're saying.
And I'm a bit more of a competitor than a smart thinker when I'm out on the WOD floor. So, I was trying to do the smart thing.
Cool.
And I'm still going to compete this summer in our Wheel WOD Championship associated with the Granite Games. But it did make sense to jump in this early in the year. So I'm just here to help execute and tell the story of the adaptive athletes. Because the coolest part is we've had it the past couple years, but 60 athletes here.
Yeah.
Amongst Wodapalooza, this massive event. And we have 60 athletes from 17 different countries in the adaptive division. And it's phenomenal.
How many different countries?
17 different countries.
Yes,
it's
dude.
incredible. All the way, Australia to Brazil and everywhere in between.
And you, listen, you've been around pushing the ball forward for the adaptive community for a long time. How big of a role has Wodapalooza played in that? Because this was the first adaptive competitive category. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wodapalooza is monumental in the momentum of adaptive inclusion in sport or fitness, whichever way you want to look at it. They really set the standard and expectation on how it needs to be moving forward. And still to this day, 5 years in, no one's come close to touching this.
Right.
Because they truly grasp the importance of inclusion.
Yeah.
And we, within the adaptive division, hone in so much on leveling the playing field. And I think oftentimes, and this is all from the best perspective possible, but people will see what we're doing with the adaptive division, and they think it's just really empowering.
Yeah.
I think they forget that we are running a legitimate level playing field competition, and we're deeming our version of the fittest on earth in that process.
Yes.
So it's important to tell that story and to bring the edification to the professionalism of these athletes and of the way we're executing it. And Wodapalooza, anyone comes here or you look at any of the Instagram posts that they've done, this is a professional, top-of-the-line environment to be in for competitive fitness.
Yeah. I told you earlier, it's harder to go short than it is to go long. We can talk about this for hours.
You're right. Exactly.
But here's what I want to say. People can find you on Instagram at Aldridge Logan.
That's right.
Where else should they be looking for adaptive athlete
Yes, that's
content?
A great question. If you want to learn more about really the training education side, how to work with adaptive athletes in fitness, that's Adaptive Training on Instagram. So at Adaptive Training. That's our seminar course. It's an Adaptive Training Academy. We call it ATA. And then also, if you want to just learn about like resources and things happening, nonprofits out there doing awesome stuff, or highlights on athletes doing remarkable things, we just created under the ATA banner All Things Adaptive. So you can go to Instagram at All Things Adaptive, and that's where you're seeing live, up-to-date stories and highlights on what the athletes are doing right here this weekend at Wodapalooza.
And maybe even a better understanding of how this season crescendos and how it's structured.
Exactly.
And where they can see the next event.
Exactly. Sheds a lot of light on all that.
Yeah. Love sitting down with you, bro. I'm glad I got to catch you. I'm sorry it's so short. We'll sit down and do an actual podcast sometime.
Yes, this is an honor. It makes total sense. If anybody's been in the Wodapalooza environment, they know that it's go, go, go.
Yes.
You talk to 1,000 people in a day. So.
And we're lucky to get the time. So
it's an honor, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What a cool guy, to say the least.
Yeah.
And again, Tommy got to sit down for an extended interview. So what you just saw was like maybe a taste test. Download the Talking Elite Fitness podcast with Logan, and I'm sure that you guys got down some rabbit holes maybe.
Oh man, it was him and Steph Hammerman. We got to really talk about a lot of things that you guys mentioned a little bit in the interview, as well as just hear some of their backstory and talk about their journey. Much like everyone else, I think adaptive athletes have their own unique journey, and we're still kind of breaking ground on how to best make sure that they're welcome in this community. Not just welcome in the community, that's probably a bad way of saying it, but making sure that they have the rightful place.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, absolutely. Well, Logan was here because he's really part of Team FitAid and has been for a long time. So this next interview is with the co-creator and president of LifeAid Beverage Company, who started as a small Santa Cruz company and got to see them like inside of a gym, and now they have so far transcended this space, and they are a massive company. But I've always had massive respect for Aaron because he's been like, not because I had any kind of clout and not because I was anybody who just took an interest in me personally, and has always been like a really cool supporter. So,
Totally.
And now you can also say like what massive respect you got for him as a businessman.
Yeah.
And what we dig into in this conversation, and what I really do love about LifeAid, is that they very much care about like the contents of the beverage. And that was like, that's their origin story. He was back in the day, he was like, I want this. And like, oh, we can kind of almost get that. And he's like, no, this is exactly what I want, and it matters. We talk about fatherhood a little bit, and again, this is almost like a very mini podcast because we tried to keep this within the bounds of the vlog. But yeah, check it out. Hope you guys enjoy it. That beer in your hand, dude.
Right.
Come on, man.
I actually haven't been drinking very much.
I haven't drank since Jan 1.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah,
really?
I was like, I'm gonna do dry January, and then I felt so good. I was like, why not? You know?
Yeah, I've been doing fully sober, Sunday through Thursday, and then I drink. And
I like that rule.
Smoke Friday, Saturday.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, I found the co-creator and the president of FitAid. Thank you for having me, first of all.
Yeah, brother. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Now that you're a Tennessean, we don't see you.
I know, man, and I miss California every day, and I miss my friends. Yeah. But it's good out there, man. It's different, obviously, but it's good. It's a good way of life out there.
It looks like you guys are having fun.
Yeah, you got to come visit.
Yeah.
So place like, believe it or not, this is my first time at Wodapalooza.
What?
Yeah, I know, right? Everybody says that, and it's so appropriate. This is my first time at Wodapalooza. Yeah.
Oh God.
So tell me why you love this event, or like put it in comparison. You have to compare to like other events specifically, but where does it fit in your stratosphere?
This is my I think 6th year here, and I always put this like back in the days of regionals and everything. I put this like kind of at that level, but just the fact that we're in Miami and. It's got that Miami vibe. It's warmer. It's in the middle of winter. Most people are freezing their ass off. Like, I always thought this was the premier event.
Yeah.
Especially, Steve and Guido in the early days. Those guys are just fucking so awesome
to
hang out with and great. And I love both of them. So it's just, it's always a natural fit for us.
Yeah. And it's funny for me, dude, because, being in Santa Cruz and watching you guys go like, bam, and just like explode. What role do events like this play kind of like for the brand? Or is it at this point is just we love being involved with it and that's why we're here?
Yeah, it's more that.
Yeah.
We're not – if you're trying to get a direct ROI on the cost of being here, it's just not happening. You know, I feel as I walk around Vendor Village, I kind of feel bad for some of like the startups. I'm like, oh, God, I know what they're spending right now.
Yeah.
And, in the early days, there was probably, I don't know, maybe 20 vendors total.
Yeah.
And now there's, 60, 70 out there.
Right.
So there's just a lot more competition in the space. But this is an opportunity for us to really connect with, our gym owners, the athletes, and just see friends that we've had for, 9 years and give back to the community, hand out free cans and, introduce new products too. Like we've got the CBD out here, I think. And,
I noticed a lot, and I'm being very formal, forgive me, but it's because I think like when I have conversations with people, I take for granted that they know you guys, meaning you and your company as well as I do. But like, so the booth, the way that you guys activate, you're taste testing and you're interacting with people. Like what's important, why that way, and what are you hoping people take away from it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean.
It's an educational piece.
It is, because most people know us as FitAid Beverage Company, right? Which is great. I mean, that's the product that we've launched in the space, and that's what people know us by. But we're actually LifeAid Beverage, and FitAid's one of our products in our portfolio. It's an awesome product. It's a great performing product. But we also have FocusAid, our nootropic line. We've got
It's keeping me alive this weekend, by the way.
We've got all the others. So it's an opportunity to expose people to drinks they may not have gotten in their gym.
Yeah, and you even use your own personal channels to talk about this, which I appreciate because you're a dad and I'm a father as well. And ingredients matter too, because I think it's really easy for people to like write off drinks and be like, whatever, it's bullshit. It's another canned soda.
Yeah.
I feel like the genesis story of like how you came up with the original formula is important, but like how much do ingredients matter?
100%. I mean, 100%. I want something that I not only feel good about putting in my body, but I have confidence that, and feel good about my kids putting it in their body. And it's interesting, if you look back in the early days of CrossFit, when it was just like us and Kill Cliff actually pivoted and reformulated. They used to have sucralose in their drink, and sucralose kills the gut microbiome. I mean, we made a big deal about how toxic that ingredient, that artificial sweetener was, and they made a pivot. Now I'm seeing a whole resurgence of not so good for you drinks. You know, people drinking drinks with 300, 350 milligrams of caffeine before they train, sometimes drinking 2 of them.
Guilty of sometimes.
Artificial sweeteners coming back in the scene. So it seems like that that cognizance of what you're putting in your body has kind of gone by the wayside a little bit as CrossFit's gone more mainstream.
Or maybe like I think maybe there's a confusion between performance and health. You know what I mean? Like so somebody who's going to smash a pre-workout is making like a deal with the devil.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, well, I'm going to drink those 300 milligrams of caffeine. Maybe it's unknowingly, but some of them are like.
Well, I mean, you look at that. Okay, so that's one small compromise. What's the next compromise?
Yeah.
I mean, you're seeing more and more steroid use because of the money in the sport. I was sitting next on the plane next to a professional female bodybuilder, natural bodybuilder, and she just informed me Ronnie Coleman, from back in the day, Mr. Olympia, just got his leg amputated.
Oh, bro, I follow him on Insta. It's like.
I mean, so. I would
shape.
just caution this community. We don't want to go down that slippery slope of results at all costs, because this is supposed to be about health and longevity. And, we start putting chemicals in our body. We start consuming shit because it jacks us up and we think we're going to get a better workout, or, we start cutting corners. There's consequences to that, right? It may be okay to do it one time or a couple times, but anything.
Or if you get swept in the open by your buddy. I'm not condoning that. I'm not condoning that at all. No, but I take your point. I really do. And it has legitimately always resonated with me that you guys, again, the story of whatever the first time that you were very true to, hey, this is exactly what I want in there. Not close to it, but this is what I want in the formula. But I always love that message as well.
There's something that resonates with me and that we really preach at LifeAid is like how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah.
Right. And so I don't like having a dirty car, and I make my bed in the morning, like just all these little things that seemingly no big deal. I'm gonna sleep in it again tonight. I mean, the same thing when it comes to fitness. It's like if you really look at it and you start compromising, you start cutting corners, that can lead to bigger systemic problems down the line.
Yeah.
From a health perspective, from ethics perspective, and so I just want to encourage people to stay true. Like not everyone has to be Matt Frazier. Not everyone's gonna be Matt Frazier. Matter of fact, no one's going to be Matt Frazier except for Matt Frazier. So
he told us a funny story, man.
Be the best version of yourself, and that's okay. Be cool with that.
Yeah.
I mean, our whole theme for this year is not New Year, New You. It's New Year, Be You. Meaning whatever is working for you, do more of that.
Love it.
I
love
do more of that.
Yes.
Like we all have unique abilities. Let's nurture that. Let's not focus on, the bullshit weaknesses. What, you're going to have a bunch of good weaknesses after you focus on that, right? Just continue to do good work in the world on what is unique for you and your skill set.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love it, dude. I could talk to you all night, obviously. I'm going to cut it short here because we'll put this in the vlog. But thank you for everything. Thank you for being a great friend.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks to Aaron and the whole FitAid crew for letting me hang on this weekend, give me a little bit of a home away from home here in the back in the VIP, the CBD lounge, make it feel special. I will. We're still got to outro the video, but I'm gonna leave you with this real quick. At the end of the day, I don't know if you knew this. The volunteers were all invited over to the Flagler stage, where Chris Hinshaw and Jason Kalipa put them through a workout. I'm gonna show you guys a little bit of footage of that. I'm gonna drop in a couple of other things because, dude, I was all over the place today, and I don't even know how to put in like some random Sam Dancer interview and a little bit of like an interaction with people up here. So the rest of this is gonna turn into like strange vlog. I hope you enjoy it, and thank you.
Thank you, man,
for stopping by.
Always.
After getting drug out of dinner at nearly midnight, for God's sakes, Tommy.
No place I'd rather be, man.
I am probably not going to sleep this weekend. Like I'm determined to I'm just going to keep going.
Mommy, why is Daddy so sleepy?
Oh, this is my favorite thing about Whoop. I was talking to these guys and Mike.
Yeah.
And he was like, I was like, I didn't sleep last night. And he was like, oh yeah. And I was like, no, like for real. And he's like, well, let me see your Whoop thing. And my Whoop literally says, would you like to add sleep? As if you can manually do it. And I was like, I told you, dude, that's not there. But, there you go.
Something's wrong, sir.
Stop. It's just a big octagon with a red octagon. All right, yeah, check this stuff out. Who doesn't love a little bit of Jason Kalipa?
Oh man,
you know what
infectious personality, man.
Infectious personality, the best. He still got it.
Yep,
he's still got it. Check it out.
So we have over 1,000 volunteers at the Wodapalooza Fitness Festival, and one of the things that the organizers feels really important is to give back to the volunteers for making this whole event happen. Jason Kalipa and I are leading at 8:45 tonight, around a 40-minute workout to kind of show thanks for the work that they've done, and without them we clearly wouldn't be able to put on this event and make it happen. And so we're going to try and deliver something really special.
Very, very long time. I want to come on first to express my gratitude to all of you guys. I've competed for CrossFit for a long, long time. And without the volunteers, none of these events are possible. And that's the truth. It really is. You know, there's close to 1,000 of you guys here this weekend. And these events just could not occur. And you're giving us a platform. So because of all you guys over the years, you've given guys like me and others a platform to build something off of. That's really special. And so I just want to let you know, from an athlete perspective, from a business owner perspective, what you've done is instrumental and it continues to be. So I just want to say thank you first and foremost to you guys for everything you guys do. It doesn't go unnoticed.
Hey guys, feels like a storm is blowing in, action is winding down, and that means it's time for me to wrap it up. I did want to say very sincerely from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much for your patience, not just for tagging along tonight, but also for, bearing with me. In the past, I've had a team of people who did a lot of this stuff for me. Now I'm learning to do it on my own. You met a lot of my friends today who are helping me, and they've been fantastic, but still a lot of it falls onto my shoulders, and it's an awesome burden to have, but I'm learning, and some of that's gonna take a little bit longer than I might like or that you might like, but I really do appreciate the grace that you guys have shown me in that process. That wraps it up for day number 2, but I want to get you guys involved for the rest of the weekend. Here's what I had in mind. I caught up with some people today, but who do you know is on site that you want to hear from, and what do you want to hear from them? If you tell me in the comments, I'll do my best to go and catch up with them and serve it up to you on day 3's recap. That's coming at you tomorrow. I'm gonna go to bed. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you tomorrow.